no point in giving you leads if they're not going to result in jobs, right? You're not paying for leads. I mean, you're paying for leads, but you're really paying for jobs,
Yep.
right? And a lot of companies hide behind that. Oh, you can get all these leads, and it's like that's so stupid. Those could be worthless. Where are those leads from? Are 85 other people calling them?
Yep.
Like if you're going through one of these major services, a lot of times that is the case. They're shared leads. Like the people that I am sending you, I've had 5, 10 minute conversations with them, sometimes longer. I know their business. I've talked to them. I know what they need, and I have the info we need to actually form relationships with them if they're looking for what we have. Which, if they're on that list, I mean, almost always are at the time.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Young Electrician podcast. My name is Ruben Young, aka the Young Electrician. Here in this podcast, we like to see electricians grow, not just in the field, but also in their personal lives. So, with that said, today I have a very special guest, somebody for you C10 contractors. You guys are going to want to listen to this if you guys are contracting right now, or you guys are thinking about contracting in the future. This video right here is going to benefit you. I have Gavin Hidaji here from Voltage Lead Generation. Gavin, how you doing?
Perfect. I'm doing great, Ruben. How are you?
Pretty good, man. Glad you're actually on the podcast now. I've been trying to get you on for like a month.
Yeah, I've been busy.
Yeah, too busy for us. That's okay.
Oh, no, no, never too busy for you.
No, hey man, I appreciate you coming on to the podcast. It's super awesome. I'm super exciting. I've been following the stuff you've been sharing on Instagram, and we had a couple of phone calls, and we've been working together for a little while now, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
that's been awesome. I've been able to see the stuff that you've been talking about firsthand. So today, I'm going to interview Gavin, and he's going to share a little bit about his story, but ultimately, he's going to share about getting clients. He's going to share about the stuff that he does at Voltage Lead Generation, and he's going to share some valuable information that any contractor is going to be able to take and implement into their business today to benefit them in the long run. All right, or benefit them immediately. All right, so Gavin, do you want to share with us how you got into the electrical trade and then how you started Voltage Lead Generation?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I have kind of a weird story. I basically started off as a desk jockey. I had a sales job. I got into marketing. I was really good at it. And after a while, I just got tired of sitting at a desk. It was bumming me out. I got kind of depressed. And, my friends who were the happiest, they were tradesmen.
Hmm.
They're outside, they're working with their hands, they're living life, and they weren't under fluorescent tubes all day. And I was like, let me go do that. So I started looking for basically uh, the highest paying trades I could do, and it was electrician and plumber was what Google told me. So I was like, okay, well, I don't want to be a plumber, so let me do electrical. And
Every
not to
electrician
push
ever.
shade, yeah, right, right. That's a pretty common story.
Yep.
But yeah, so I basically I called around. I got on Facebook. I started messaging all the contractors in my area. I just applied like my sales skills to try and to get a job because I figured it wouldn't happen on my first shot, but if I was persistent, if I made 100 calls, however many, whatever, I was going to land something. And I didn't land anything from the calls. Everyone was not hiring anyone from scratch.
Hmm.
And then maybe 2 or 3 weeks after I kind of gave up on it, I basically got a message in Facebook Messenger. And they said, hey, we're hiring apprentices, come interview. They gave me the time and I showed up. I typed out a resume on Google Docs, like right there. It was basically just nonsense because I had no experience. I was
Did you?
talking about like sales role stuff and
Oh,
trying
that's
to make
hilarious.
that. Yeah, I know, right? They're like, who the hell? So they looked at me like I was crazy, and I kind of just did my thing and persuaded them, and they were like, "All right, we'll give you a shot." Um, and man, I was like the ultimate apprentice, because I was used to like cold calling people, and now I'm just like I feel like I'm living the dream now. Like this is way easier, and it wasn't easier. It was hard work, but in my mind, the switch was different. It felt like a breath of fresh air.
Yep.
And so I was kicking ass, dude. I was like early every single day, like at least an hour early. I was cleaning out the trucks. They loved me, you know. Um, and it was great. The only thing that was about it was the pay. And I
Mm.
think that that's a pretty common experience for guys who are getting in as apprentices.
Were you an
Like
apprentice or an
you can
ET?
work.
Were you in an apprenticeship program?
I was essentially a helper at the time when
Okay,
I first
gotcha.
started.
And that's a
Yeah.
difference. That makes a big difference in pay, right?
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I say apprentice because at the time I thought of myself as an apprentice. That called me an apprentice. I was paid like a helper, you know.
Yep.
It was to make me feel good. You know
Yep.
how it is.
Sounded good.
Um, but but basically, yeah. So I was working for this guy, but the pay was rough, and so I had to get a second job, and I was washing dishes at night, because it was the only thing. By the end of the day, I was so exhausted, from digging and crawling attics and stuff, that I didn't want to think about anything, and so I just took a crappy job, just where I didn't have to think at all, and I could just work night hours. And I did that for maybe, I think, a year and a half,
Wow.
and then it was just too much having both jobs, and I just got really frustrated and burnt out, and I had to make a choice. And I was like, okay, I'm either going to go all in on this electrical thing, or I'm going to have to quit it and figure out something else to do. And I decided to go all in on electrical. And I had a ton of fun. I learned a lot. I met some great guys, and I got to do a lot of work that a helper or an apprentice really shouldn't be exposed to. Like, I got to do panels and stuff. Um, Obviously, they supervised me at first, but I felt like they advanced me really quickly, and
Yeah.
that felt good. And it was great. But again, the pay was an issue, and I basically quit my other job, taking on more hours at the electrical shop, and it still wasn't covering my bills. In fact, I was making less overall.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was just really frustrated, and I was like, I felt like I'm this smart guy. I've done so much in other areas in sales and marketing for like white collar businesses, and I feel like I can't use any of that right now. It's not what my job isn't about how smart am I at going out and making money. It's about how proficient I am at this and that. And
Yeah.
that kind of bothered me. Find I felt like I could find a better way to utilize my skills and utilize my brain, and do it maybe in a way that still honored my appreciation for the trades and that lifestyle and those kinds of guys.
Yeah.
And, over the course of years, that molded into me helping friends here and there with leads and marketing. And then now we have Voltage, and we're just doing that at a bigger scale now.
Awesome.
It was
Did
a
you ever
good
join
story.
an apprenticeship program, or were you just ET, like an electrical trainee the whole time?
I was in ET the whole time.
Me
I
too.
did it for 3.5, I think, years, almost 4. But I moved halfway through, so I'm in Missouri now. I was in Arizona, um, and so I didn't even log my hours or anything. I wouldn't even know how to do that.
Hmm.
So
Nah, not too hard.
I should probably think about that. Um,
Log your hours. Yep.
yeah,
Oh, you're good.
yeah.
I think that's easy to get.
That's a tip for anybody out there. Log your hours.
Log your no, no. The government logs your hours for you. Don't worry.
Oh, really?
So long as you're working under a contractor, the government you could go and get a printout of your hours that you worked.
Oh man,
Yeah.
yeah, it's awesome.
Oh yeah, no, that's awesome. So what led into you starting Voltage?
Yeah, so I realized that, you know, I'm a decent electrician, and I'm an excellent marketer.
Hmm, nice.
And in order to do what I do best, I have to get out of the field and I have to get these guys some jobs. I mean, that seems like I wanted to help electrical contractors because I understand that business. I've helped with, managing the business, bids. I've done everything. I worked for smaller companies where I'm essentially the project manager. Um, and I get those people and I get marketing. And so I just wanted to merge them. And that's where we got this company.
Interesting. So you were doing that for some smaller companies that you were working with already.
Yes.
Did
Just
you
friends.
did you find any did you do this for companies you were working with, or were these just companies that other people that you knew owned that you were working with?
No, I never did it for the companies I worked with. By the time I was good enough at it to get consistent leads, I was no longer working for them essentially.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about what you're doing now because you kind of impressed me this week and you ruined my Saturday, which you made me, I woke up to a bunch of leads and had to get up and actually start working. So thank you for that. Which is pretty awesome. Yeah, I got up. My wife walked out into the living room, and I was just on my computer, like a deer in his in headlights. And yeah, so got up, started working on those leads, and I thought that was awesome, dude. You just had like a whole, I don't know, it was like 20, 30 leads just shot to me. So let me ask you, what are you doing to help out the electricians that work with you?
Yeah. So a whole bunch of things. The biggest thing that new guys need when they're starting is just more customers. So that's what I focus on, and that's what I'm best at. Um, what I do is, depending on the size of the company and the kinds of jobs they want, we run ads and organic through like Google My Business, and basically search engines for a lot of residential jobs if you want to work with like homeowners, and then for B2B if you want to work with like GCs and people like that. We just do direct outreach, email, call. If I really want to get a client results or you're new to working with me and I just want to impress you, I'll go ahead and pick up the phone myself. I'll tell my team to, they don't have to worry about it, and I'll just take care of business. And that's basically what I did for you. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And also, one thing that kind of impressed me was that, and I want to know if you're doing this for your other clients or just certain clients, you actually helped me craft out email responses to some of these
Yes.
people because, writing emails is not my profession, although I need to get better at that if I am going to be a business owner. But you actually helped me craft some email responses and kind of coached me on how to talk to these business owners because I am a new contractor and I'm not used to talking to other contractors. Is that something you're just doing for me because you love me so much, or is this something you offer you offer to all your clients?
Honestly, you're one of my least favorite clients at this one. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. You just keep me around because I'm pretty. I know.
That's it. Yeah, it's for the mustache. No, here's our philosophy. There's no point in giving you leads if they're not going to result in jobs, right? You're not paying for leads. I mean, you're paying for leads, but you're really paying for jobs,
Yep.
right? And a lot of companies hide behind that. Oh, you can get all these leads, and it's like that's so stupid. Those could be worthless. Where are those leads from? Are 85 other people calling them?
Yep.
Like if you're going through one of these major services, a lot of times that is the case. They're shared leads. Like the people that I am sending you, I've had 5-10 minute conversations with them, sometimes longer. I know their business. I've talked to them. I know what they need, and I have the info we need to actually form relationships with them if they're looking for what we have. Which, if they're on that list, I mean, almost always are at the time we put them on there. And we actually separate them. You'll see that some of them are for later dates and some of them are for like right now jobs they need.
Yeah. I see. Yeah, I seen that. And now, so you're doing this and you're going out, you're getting these clients. You're physically calling them, correct?
Yes.
You're not just trying to send an email out and hoping they respond. You're calling them, you're having a conversation with them, and you're actually trying to make sure they are a fit. They understand what they're getting into, who your client is, and you're bridging that, you're making that connection.
Yes. If you want to build connections with contractors, you can't approach them like a marketer. That's I mean, the ultimate, excuse me, the ultimate way to make them not want to talk to you, right? It's annoying. They get peppered by these emails all day. No one wants to deal with that. If you tell them, what's up? Hey, I am a contractor. I'm working with other contractors. to make money for contractors. I would like him to be one of those contractors. Can we
Yep.
talk about it? They're like, oh yeah,
No, it's awesome. Yeah, because at the end of the day, these are people. They got a business to run. They have a ton of people marketing to them every single day. My phone goes off a lot. I hate having a phone because now when it rings and I'm hoping somebody just wants to give me some money, it's somebody trying to market something to me. So yeah, so that's awesome. Talk to them like not like a marketer. That's a huge plus. Now for some of the contractors listening, do you recommend that they're actually picking up their phone and calling these people that they want to work with versus just trying to draft an email or send a text?
100% pick up the phone. Practice in the mirror, get good at it. Talk to Chat GPT. Have Chat GPT coach you through it. I'm not kidding. Like you can get Chat GPT to give you sales scripts, make them your own, but ultimately you're trying to be authentic with these people. And if you just have your goal in mind, I want to work with them, you don't even really need to think about selling anything. Just be authentic, be genuine, create value for them, and make that apparent. Hey, Mr. Business Owner, this is what I do. I'm hoping we can work together. I'd like to make you some money. That's it.
Yep.
Right? They'll say yes or no, and there are different ways to position it, but a lot of people just say yes, right? If they know you're a contractor, they know you're in the area. A lot of people are just open. And worst case scenario, they call you down the line and they have your info, you have theirs.
Yep. That's
So
awesome.
yeah.
Also, so that's cool. We'll get back into that a little bit, but because I know when we first talked, it was about building a website for my company. Now, is that the primary thing you guys focus on, or is that just an add-on?
Yes,
Oh,
that's a great question. So initially when I got the idea for Voltage's Instagram page, I wanted to market the website feature of what we do. I thought maybe that would be valuable to guys just starting out. But what I'm finding as I approach, especially just these newer guys on Instagram, because there are a lot of just up and coming little shops or guys just getting their license, just getting out there. Like, what's
making
the concept?
websites for people. You're getting out
Yes.
there, you're talking to new contractors. You wanted to market your website side of it because you thought it would help people, but you're noticing these new contractors have maybe a different issue than just not having a website.
Yeah, I think that looking at a business that doesn't have enough customer, a local business that doesn't have enough customers, and saying you need a website is like slapping a band-aid on a bullet wound. Not really. It's not
That'll fix it. Here's your website.
exactly. It's like, okay, are you getting traffic to that website? Does anybody know about? What do you do with that? You just start texting it to people? You send out those emails like a marketer? Like, what do you do? And so that doesn't help people, right? It helps a little bit if you have other stuff going. Actually, I'll say it helps a lot if you have other stuff going for you. You're gonna need a website, but that's not really the engine that drives it. The engine that drives everything is having conversations.
Yeah.
That's what that's what people want. That's what people resonate with. Like it's effective and
Yeah.
it's also fun to do. Like coming from someone who has like a cold calling background, selling like software to people, it's to talk to like a guy on a job site. There's like saws going in the background, and he's actually excited about like making some money. That's a cool experience.
Nice. Nice. So let me ask you, so you're making these phone calls, but you have clients that are, some of them aren't looking for, contractors to work with, correct? Like not everybody's just looking for contractors. Some people are looking for homeowners, or more on the service side. Do you
Yes.
find that your tactics are different when you're trying to get maybe service calls for somebody else coming from just homeowners, business owners, or something like that?
Totally. Yeah, totally different methods. So if you want to get like actual homeowners, you basically have to run ads.
Yep.
Um, that's that's pretty much the best method. I mean, you can get creative with like door knocking. You can have business cards and door hangers that are really can be effective if you do them right. And also depending on your area and how many other people are doing that in the area. But for the most part, ads are going to be your bread and butter. Um,
Nice.
and then organic wise, you're looking at Google My Business. So like if I was just starting my company right now, I didn't want to get on the phone. I didn't want to pay for ads. I would take a week and learn everything I possibly could about Google My Business.
What is Google My Business?
Yeah, so Google My Business is essentially the listing service built into Google for local service-based businesses. So like plumbers, electricians, tradies, you know, um, even roofers, right? But
Nice.
but but yeah, so it's basically where almost all of the local jobs are being booked this year. It's and I don't have to tell you this, and I hope we don't get sued, right? But it's not Yelp or Angie or Home Advisor or any of those stupid services
We
anymore.
don't
It's
have any
search.
money. We could get sued. It's okay.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
Be
no,
suing
sue
us for
us.
fun, for practice. Okay, yeah, I noticed that you said that. Okay, say that one more time. Just say that one more time.
Yeah, so focus on Google My Business. That's the reason you want to do that. And the key here, 97, almost 98% of local jobs are being booked through Google in 2024. It's almost all of them. The
Yeah.
reason being is when someone doesn't know a tradesman for a particular job, they just Google it,
Yep.
right? Like it's so common. It's a phrase. Google it. It's just like it's not look it up. It's Google it, even if you're not even using Google.
Yep. Google
So
it on Safari.
yeah, exactly, exactly, right. But Google has become essentially a monopoly. They've found a way to funnel all of this traffic into Google My Business. And companies like Yelp and Home Advisor and Angie and all those annoying companies that charge you ridiculous fees, they're losing market share rapidly to the free service, which is Google My Business.
Yeah. Yeah, because Angie wants you to give them money up front. They're good salesmen. They give me a call every like 2 months and repitch me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's annoying. And the thing is, like, it is a little bit of a learning curve, but if you're smart, if you're patient, if you read well and you can research, and by the way, any of your listeners, DM me, I'll help you with this. It's not hard. Work on Google My Business. It's free. And it's a great way to bolster your online presence. Even if you don't have a website, people will look you up and find your listing. It's phenomenal. If you're not on there, get on there immediately.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah,
So on Google
yeah.
My
And
Business.
then
Oh no, no, go ahead. Continue.
I was gonna say just briefly, the big brother version of that is Google Ads. So that's when you've got a little bit of money to spend. You want to be the first search result when someone types in, say, like electrician Los Angeles. You want to be number one. You pay to get there. That's the most effective method, but it costs money. So a lot of guys don't have that starting out. I suggest you get into that after you get like your first couple jobs down. Just take the time, learn Google Ads, or pay somebody cheap to do it, or DM me, frankly, because I'm cheap as well.
That's right. Awesome. So Google My Business is free, and that's going to put you on the Google listing. And
Yes.
so there are ways to make yourself, and you don't have to share everything. I'm pretty sure it's a little more than we could probably get into right now, but there's ways to make yourself rank higher on Google, correct? Without spending any money,
Yes.
just so
Yeah,
people
you're talking about
listen.
search engine optimization,
Yes.
SEO.
Just so people don't think
Yeah.
like, well, I'm on there,
So
but I have to pay to be seen. There's ways to actually get yourself even possibly on the first, second page of Google.
if you are in a position where you can substitute money for skill, then it's a great option. Most people who are contractors don't have that. SEO is difficult to do. You know, it generally speaking, Google is a system designed to feed the most relevant, high quality results it can to the search to the user based on the search terms. So it wants to know that your website's legit. It wants backlinks to other websites. It wants lots of visitors. It wants like basically all of the metrics. I mean, meta text, all of the metrics that point towards a high quality website. And it takes a long period of time, like 6 months, a year,
To get
to do right. And to,
this is for a typical person. This isn't for somebody that like if somebody really understood the SEO and Google My Business, how quick do you think they could just get their name? somewhere close to the front.
If you've been doing it for like a decade, because that's how long it takes to get good at it.
Yep.
I mean, a month.
Nice. Yeah. So if you're really good, it's not going to take too long. But you made a good point. It's either that you're either going to spend the money to have an expert do it, or you're going to spend the time to learn. And you're gonna pay one way or the other, but the options are there.
Pretty much.
Nice.
And I would say that like some people will be tempted. Some people will hear that and they're not that great with computers and they'll just be like, oh, how hard can it be? Hard. The answer is hard. Go on like, I mean, literally just Google SEO freelancers. If you're like really on a budget, look at the reviews, you know.
Yeah.
If SEO is the way you want to go, it's just gonna take some time. Whereas ads are immediate. Obviously, picking up the phone is, I mean, it takes 10 minutes. And you've seen that, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've seen that firsthand. And so so if somebody's new or struggling, your information to them is to make sure they're on Google, right? Google My Business. That's step one.
Yes.
Okay, so let's say they have a website. Would any website do, or should they focus on trying to change things on their website, make it more user friendly? Because let's say somebody does want to work with them, they hop on their website. Could there be any deterrence if they come to your website from Google?
Oh, a million. I mean, so and that's why people, all these companies like Wix, again, we're gonna get sued. Screw it. I almost dropped an F bomb. I gotta bleep that. Um, they want you to think that you can just do it yourself, and like some people can do a good job if you're already artsy and stuff, but like
Yeah.
the average Sparky is gonna get on there, drop the $30, drag and drop a few things, and then realize they can't do it and get frustrated and so to those people, I would say get like a low budget freelancer, Fiverr, Upwork. Those are good platforms. If you don't want to, pay someone good, or DM me, or just hire a US web designer and price shop if you're willing to spend a little bit more money. Don't try and do it yourself. And if you already have a decent site, definitely don't try and change things yourself, especially if somebody else designed it.
Right. Nice. Nice. All right. So let me ask, because I seen this on your website when I was poking around. You have different packages, but I seen that you have some free package, which I thought was kind of impressive because it did look like something that somebody would be selling, but the fact that you're giving it for free, I thought that might be a little benefit for people listening to this. If you just want to share about this, maybe they could go and snag that and kind of apply some of those things. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So it's just real quick, it's voltageleadgeneration.com. It's pretty easy. Starts with a V, OLTAGE leadgeneration.com. And basically, the free package is it's a consultation call, but it's not like a cheesy, we're going to upsell you consultation call. I'm actually just going to have a conversation with you, figure out how you're getting your leads, see if we can do anything to get you some more business in the next probably week to 14 days. And it's not stuff that I'm going to do for you, right? I'm not going to build a website for you. I'm not going to have my team, do all these things for you and market you, but I can give you guidance as to what you can do to just get some jobs really quick, build a little momentum, and then you have some money to put towards things like maybe Google ads or marketing later on or flyers or whatever you want to do.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, the fact you're actually taking the time to have a call with somebody where you're doing so much, I thought that was really cool.
Mhm.
Because that to me, that's the beneficial part. Let's say somebody wanted to work with you. Let's say a brand new C10 contractor just got his license hot off the press. Um, what what could they look forward to in you assisting them with? They got nothing. They got no website. They got no leads. They have their little pickup truck and their tools and their contracting cards. How can you help
Sure.
them out?
Yeah. So the first thing is you need a home for your business online. So Google My Business is the quickest way to do that. You can do that yourself. But if you're working with me, you don't have to worry about that. We're actually going to help you with that. We're also going to deal with all of your branding, logos, All the designs are transferable to business cards, door hangers, hats, t-shirts, anything. If you want to put a decal on your truck, I can, shoot you the design for that. And then after that, we get your website up, and then we just start directing leads depending on the kinds of jobs you want. If you're willing to do B2B, which honestly I'd recommend because they can pay really well, and you end up with long-term relationships, which is when you're starting out, you want like a couple of customers that are just really, really solid. And if you can form those relationships, that's excellent for you. But I digress. We get you those start out. We try and get you on some jobs as soon as possible. If you're licensed, if you do good work, you're reliable, ready to go, we can get you jobs. It's pretty much as simple as that.
Nice. That's awesome. Awesome. So, one thing I noticed, hold on, I'll ask a different question. What's the biggest difference you noticed, or the biggest shocker you noticed when you started actually doing this for people from what you thought it was going to be like when it comes to advertising or getting leads? What was one of the misconceptions you had between the way you thought it would be and the way that it is in the market?
I thought it was going to be way harder than way harder. So a lot of these people, they want to work with people who are good and reasonable. And the only barriers to that are either they don't need it right now, which isn't really an objection. We'll just give them an email and we'll take their info down. Or like they just maybe don't work with us, like our kinds of contractors whatsoever. But aside from those two things, it's a pretty much green light. Sometimes they don't like people who cold call them, but if you're friendly, most people usually it turns around pretty quickly. Not all, some hang up on you and stuff, but that's life. You got to tough it out.
Nice, nice. That's interesting. So yeah, a lot of contractors, even me listening to that, you say it's easy, and we're like, whoa, buddy. Like we've been trying to do this for quite a while, and it's to us, it's not that easy. Do you think that something that makes it easy for you is that you've had sales experience?
100%. Yeah, yeah. I probably sound like a bit of a bit boisterous on here, saying that it's super easy. I have a decade of sales experience. I did $1 million in sales my first year. I'm gifted at sales. Here's the thing though, you don't have to be good at selling to get sales. You have to be the one who's trying to help the client the most.
Mm.
And if guys who aren't good at selling can get that in their head, they will up their close percentages automatically, and they will start doing the things that good salesmen do.
Yeah, I think that is great. We talked about that before this podcast started, and it's something that I realized. You listen to a lot of contractors, on YouTube or on podcasts, and they all say the same thing. Their rates are very high, and they're telling us to double, triple, quadruple what we're charging an hour. And I'm going to let you talk about this, but I just want to say that it doesn't work most of the time for the new guy that doesn't have any reputation. And what happens is it they put it in our minds that we should be charging this particular amount. So then we start focusing on that. Instead of focusing on helping a customer or a client, we focus on making money. My mindset is completely on charging $200 an hour. That's
Yes,
it. Okay, so
yes.
how do I actually get to do the thing that the contractor I've been listening to on YouTube does in order to get $200 an hour? I gotta formulate that. But in reality, the mindset should be, how do I do a great job for this client? Whether I'm gonna, instead of just trying to make a buck off them, if the mindset's, how do I do a great job for this client? Then I think the money would come in. Do you want to say anything on that?
Yes, and that's not to say, get screwed over by a client, right? You can
Yep.
have a backbone. You can be a man when you talk to these people, right? I mean, it's common sense, and you know when you're getting screwed over, and you know when to walk. But
Yeah.
aside from that, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I
Yeah. I actually tripped up in that, dude, and I almost lost a client who actually ended up becoming a really good referral for me because he referred a couple of people to me. And I was focused on the money side of it. And I don't think I've shared this. I might have shared this on the podcast before. I don't know. But I was focused on the money side of it. And then I gave him a bid earlier this year to do some work. And he ghosted me after that. I think my bid was way too high listening to
Yeah.
these YouTube guys. And then after I read that book I was telling you about, the human side of construction, and I was realizing like, oh wait, I'm supposed to be serving people. I'm supposed to be doing a good job for people. The people come first. I can't just try to make a buck off of them.
Yes.
So I apologized to the guy. Texted him. I apologized. I said, hey man, I had a new system for for bidding and for charging for stuff, but I realized it's not aligned with my philosophy. So hey, I'm just gonna come and do those lights for free. I don't recommend doing that all the time. You could go and try to make amends or try to fix a relationship. But it was an easy job that I knew was gonna, wasn't gonna take a long time. So I said, screw it. I'm gonna go do it for free because I care more about keeping this relationship, especially when I don't have work coming in. It's not like it's going to take me away from something else. And I have a full time job that pays pretty well. So I'm not depending on my contracting license. So I go and I do this job for him. He's super excited. And he sends me, I think it was like half of what I, quoted him at the time before, which was still a good amount of money. And from that, I ended up getting referrals. But my mindset changed from trying to charge what the guy on YouTube told me to charge over to how do I keep this relationship? How do I make this person a happy client? Because I'm not worried about making a buck off him. I'm worried about getting future work, not just from this person, but they might know somebody that they tie me together with in the future that makes me a lot of money.
Yes. Yes. You were paid, not in all not all relationships, but a lot of what you do is you're paid in relationships, right? Like the
Yeah.
more people you know, the more connections you have, like the more. This is another thing that people don't realize about what we do for lead generation. Like with every lead we give you, there are three leads that say not right now, but like in 6 months, maybe we need something, right? And so we've still got them in the system. And depending on the client, we send you those leads, we help you with the email and text follow up, and you'll get people those. For instance, today I called property managers. They have 1 billion properties. Things break. At some point, something's going to break, and I was the last person to call. I just texted them my info. They've just on my website, and I follow up with them every 3 or 4 weeks. You get leads almost by accident like that. You get those jobs coming in that you didn't think were going to happen.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been told to reach out to property management companies, and I don't.
Well, I would say about actually all of your leads I got you today are property management
I
companies. So you enjoy
noticed
that.
that. I noticed that. I was like, okay, maybe I should be talking to these people. All right,
Yeah.
yeah, so that was cool. So yeah, I mean, and anybody could do that. You could call any property management company around you and just be like, hey, I'm an electrician, got a C10 license. Let me know if you need an electrician for something.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
That's a great way to do it. And if it's lower, obviously lower percentage than if a professional does it. We have very high success rates. But if you're just starting out, all you need is one win. All you need
yeah,
is a couple jobs, right? And
yeah,
then you're on your way. You get momentum. You got some money in the bank. You're rocking and rolling.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to going through the rest of these leads and following up this week and seeing what I get. Um, awesome. So what is the future of voltage lead generation? Oh,
So my philosophy is I'm just going to try and provide value to as many freaking people as possible. And then if 2% of them want to come work with me, like, great. That's all I need. So I'm trying to kind of build my audience on like mostly Instagram,
mm.
um, and and just get like good free info out there. Maybe get on some more podcasts and just get this info out there. I think it's important people hear it.
I think so too. I think as many people as I've listened to and as many contractors as I respect that I do listen to, I still feel like there's a disconnect between what somebody who does the lead generating professionally knows and what the contractor knows. Because, a contractor, we only have, let's say, a quarter of the time, maybe, probably more, probably less, to figure out how to generate leads, right? And once we get leads, we start working, right? I
Mhm.
mean, a lot of people have that problem. They're like, get lead, get lead, get lead. And then they get a job. They stop getting leads. They do the job dries up, get leads, get leads, get leads, right? And it's this little
Yeah.
seesaw effect. So I do feel like there is a little bit of that is lacking, and not saying anything negative about any contractors or me as a contractor, but it's just not our profession. We're not lead generating professionals. We're electricians that are trying to get leads. So I think the information that you are providing is valuable because you are somebody who not only knows the trade because you've done it, so you do have some understanding of the trade and of the construction world, but you're somebody who is professionally generating leads. You're going out and you're spending your time while I'm swinging my hammer or drilling something in or bending some conduit. You're out there all day long learning more about getting leads, figuring these systems out, putting things together that works. And I think that information is super valuable. And for somebody not to just go on your Instagram or go and get that free consultation call and the free information that you give them, it's I don't understand why somebody wouldn't. I love following your page. I love reading through your slides because there was one that really stuck out to me. It was a statistic on how many, like on getting, I guess, like referrals or something like that, or getting new clients. And you gave a statistic on word of mouth versus Google My Business. And I know word of mouth is awesome because we want people to tell other people about us so that they could refer them to us, and that's awesome. I'm all about referrals and having referral generating programs. But you gave a pretty staggering statistic that I don't think people realize. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So people, and I might have said this earlier. I don't know when we started recording, but yeah. So Google essentially owns most of the internet right now, and if you want to make money using the internet, you have through Google. So all these companies, Yelp, Angie Home Advisor, they're not. You already knew this, but they're not any good. Google My Business is free. That's what you should be focusing on. And 97% of these local jobs are going directly through Google. 3% is word of mouth and other sources. So you have all these contractors out there trying to figure out how to grow with 3% of their market. And it's like, no wonder you're growing slowly. There's no possible way you're not like, there's no other business in that exists that's going to be like, oh, 3% of my market. Perfect. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, what are you doing?
And it
Give,
is
give
different. We
time.
talked about this earlier. If somebody's been in business for 20 years, they might have a way better chance at just surviving off word of mouth or whatever they got in place.
Mhm.
And somebody that's just starting off or that's struggling, obviously they're not getting a ton of work from word of mouth. They can't just sit back and, cross their arms and depend on that. Google My Business or something like that. Well, I would say that because it's free is going to be extra, just phenomenally better for them than depending on, hopefully somebody tells somebody about their business.
Yes, I mean this is for lead gen in business, but also for life. Sometimes you got to go on the offensive. Like you can't just wait around for stuff to happen. And people are terrified that if they go out there, they call someone, they try and hand out business cards, people are going to tell them they're not good enough or that they should shut up and leave, whatever. Who cares? Like
You know,
this is about this is about your bottom line. This is about your company. This is about your future. You got to go out there and take risks. That's the only way good things happen. Um,
yeah.
People have a mindset issue too, is what I'm getting at.
What was that last part?
People have a mindset issue too, is what I'm getting at.
Okay, gotcha. What's wrong with the mindset?
It's not they're not going on the offensive. So they're waiting for things to happen. happen. Like kind of like what you said. Well, I'm just gonna all right. So people, I've done these jobs, so they're gonna come. These referrals are gonna come in, and there are people who are trying different things. That's everybody, but there are a lot of guys that are just stuck. They don't know what to do, and they're not taking action because they think that they're not worth it. Their company's not good enough. Whatever, someone's going to tell them no, and
Yeah.
like those are all blocks that keep people from doing exactly what I do, which is just pick up the freaking phone. Just call
Yeah.
them. Someone's going to want business with you. I promise. Make 100 calls for anybody listening. Like go make a spreadsheet of 100 people you want to work with in your area and just call them. I
Yeah.
guarantee you by the end of the day, someone's going to say something to you that's going to move you forward.
Yeah, that's crazy because there's gonna be a lot of people. Hopefully not. There's gonna be people listening to this. It'll be they're gonna hear that. They're gonna know that it's true, and they're gonna be terrified of the phone.
Oh, 99%. That's why I feel comfortable saying it
Yeah,
because I know they're not going to go do what I'm doing.
but you know what, dude? For that
You
one
will.
or for that one or two people, hopefully more that's hearing this, say, you know what, dude? I got to make a change. I need to do
Yes.
something drastic. I need to be on the offensive and move forward. If they
Yes.
pick up this phone and start calling people, one, you're gonna get better at talking to people
Yes.
because confidence, right? That's one thing. If you're not picking up the phone, you're lacking confidence. If you're
Yes.
not closing deals, you're lacking confidence. If you're not on the offensive, you're lacking confidence. And the secret to confidence that I've learned is confidence is competence, or competence is confidence. And you get competence by doing something. You
Yes.
gain that experience doing it. And you just like swimming or anything else, you hop in the pool to learn to swim. You're not that good at it, but the more frequently you swim and you get in that water, the better you are, the more comfortable you are. And it's the same thing. That competence that comes with experience builds that confidence, and you will not get that confidence if you're not putting these things to practice.
Totally. Totally. It's like another thing that I've learned is you have to really it's hard to just change your mindset
Yeah.
statically. You have to act your way into it. And then you have to draw evidence based on the results of those actions. Like I have a client who, and actually this is just a free client. I'm just helping out, giving him advice. I gave him the same advice I gave your listeners. I said, just pick up the phone. If you don't want to do that, text people. Text people you know. Give me 50 texts today by the end of the day. And if you don't get anything, I will pay you.
Yeah,
He goes, all right.
I want that deal too. Hold on.
Yeah, right. But no, I was trying to fire him up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was like, all right. Like 30 minutes later, he's like, I got 2 jobs. I'm bidding one right now. Do you guys know what I need for this? I'm like, perfect. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm also glad I didn't have to pay him. That's the other
Heck yeah.
thing.
That's hilarious. Save some money. That
But
is
yeah,
funny.
man, it's like all the things you want are on the other side of fear. Not to get too hippy dippy.
Get hippie, bro. Let's do it.
All the things you want are on the other side of fear, man. The best times in my life have been from doing stuff that I was terrified to do when I just did it. Dude, I'm not naturally a good talker. You can tell by this podcast I ramble. It's taken me a while to get to the point where I was even decent with people at all. And when I first started selling, I was horrible. Like there are a lot of contractors out there who they're quiet guys.
Yeah.
They're not salesmen. Like if you put them on a car lot or something and you're like, hey, sell this Kia, they would quit in a day. That's not that. But everybody, I think, has the ability to light a fire within themselves that will enable them to do things that they perceive as difficult,
Yeah.
or uncomfortable, or that give them fear. And I don't know your audience too well, but I know that there are a lot of small contractors out there trying to start things, and money is a big motivator. Like if rents due, if you want food in your fridge, if you want to pay your car payment, if you want to get a nicer car, you want to get some new tools, switch to Milwaukee, stop being a bum.
Yep. Get away from DeWalt.
Like all that stuff is on the other side of fear. Just pick up the phone, talk to people. And here's the thing, if you're afraid to hear no, That's what everybody's afraid of in sales. They're going to get rejected. They're going to get hung up on or told they're no good. Who cares? They don't know you. Like
Yeah.
that's pretty obvious advice, but like these, how do they know you're no good? Do they even know your name? Do they even remember it? Do they know what company you work for? Are they going to remember you 5 minutes after the call? Or are they going to go back to hammering on whatever they were doing?
Yep.
Nobody cares. The only person that cares is you. And you got to deal with that because money's on the other side of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Your future, your money, your family's future is on the other side of getting over those little fears and doubts and pitfalls.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that,
Yes.
man. Little pep talk for everybody.
Yeah, dude, I kind of slipped into it by accident. I've been doing it for all my clients all day. All these guys are just they're down on themselves because they have this workers mentality because they've been told as they're getting up to getting their license, you're only worth this much, they get squished down into the role of an employee. And now it's time to turn that shit. And that's good when you're trying to make money for someone else. That's what you have to do. Hey,
Yeah.
good on them. Now it's time to flip that around. And like so much of, I think, the issues that guys face beyond just getting leads. Like, I mean, I can get leads all day. It's not a problem. But if you don't have the proper mindset in regards to your business and your growth, and you don't believe in yourself, like you can do this, as cheesy as that sounds, you will not get very far. Like
Yeah.
you gotta flip that and turn into a gangster, man.
Thug
Like
life.
that's what a business owner is.
You got to be
Like,
Tupac.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, you don't have to act like it, but like that mentality of like, listen, I'm a G, I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna get this done. I am a professional. People want to work with me, right? Even if none of that's true based on the way you currently view yourself, it sure is about to be if you follow any of what we just said.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm Tony Robbins.
Good. Good. All right, everybody, stand up and clap. No, just playing. I don't know what he does. Stuff like that. Um, no, I think that's really good. And I started this podcast not because I want to teach people how to become a contractor. I don't want to teach people how to, pass the journeyman exam. I started this podcast because, I was a 10-year apprentice when I got certified, to my own shame. But I had so many fears, so many doubts, so many hangups, and I had such a bad perception of myself and no guidance. I didn't need somebody to give me, a journeyman prep book to pass the exam. I didn't need somebody to show me how to fill out the paperwork, or the steps towards getting certified. I needed help in my confidence. I needed to view myself in a different way. And I think a lot of people are kind of, I started this podcast because I know a lot of people in that same boat in whatever stage of life or their career that they're in, where they're afraid to move to the next stage because they lack that confidence in themselves. And, I think the stuff that you're sharing here and we're talking about is really important because, of course, getting leads is important. Having a website's important. Getting after it's important. But the number one thing I think that's going to define all these is somebody pushing those fears aside, taking the necessary steps, picking up that phone, making those calls, gaining that confidence, because that confidence is something you're going to have for the rest of your life. Once you start
Yes.
actually moving forward and gaining new experience, and this is what I teach people, and it's going to be in the ebook that's coming out. Quick little shout out to myself. Yeah, ebooks coming out. Sign up for that. In how to pass the journeyman exam. There's nothing really in there too much about. It's not a journeyman prep book. I'm trying to prep you who's been in the trade for years, who's afraid to take the exam, who doubts yourself. I'm trying to coach you into having that confidence and having the right tools to move forward. But one of the things I share is my new understanding of studying. A lot of people don't want to study because they have bad past experiences of studying. Either you were made to study and you hate it, right? I don't know. Did you do good in school, bro? Or were you like me?
I did horrible in school, and then around like sophomore year, I just became super disciplined and forced myself through it. But I hated it.
Nice. Nice. So the thing I noticed is there's like two types of people primarily. One, they had to, right? You're afraid of your parents, you're afraid of the consequences. You
Yes.
have to do your homework, you have to study. And they get older and you hear it from people, oh, I don't read, because when I was young, I had to read all these books for school. So I don't enjoy reading, right? It kills it for them. And same thing with studying. They don't want to study. And what happens is there's people like me who did terrible in school. And when you think about studying, all you think about is your past failures, right? I just all these things start coming up, and I have this bad taste in my mouth from studying. But what I notice is when you formulate a good game plan, even if you're not too good at it in the beginning, and you start taking those steps and getting those little wins, you start changing your perception of studying, and you start understanding it's not that grueling task that you thought it was. It's not that grueling task that it used to be. And I'm sharing that because I think the same thing applies to here. When you start to put a little system together, I was on a coaching call, coaching some young dude the other day, and I was telling him like, look, here's the steps that we formulated for you to do. When are you going to do this one? Step one. And he was like, oh, I'm going to, do it every day. I said, no, 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 screw that everyday stuff. What days of the week are you going to do it? And what times are you going to do it? How long are you going to do it for? And then
Yes.
he gave me his times. I said, okay, cool. Step two, when are you going to do this? I'm going to do this on this day. Okay, at what time? Write that down. And they're like 3 or 4 steps. And I said, okay, cool. That's your game plan. Because if you don't actually set times for these things, if you don't actually, I'm going to make 10 cold calls today, right? That's somebody sitting at home right now. You're a contractor. You don't have any work coming in. You're wondering, who's going to give you the word of mouth? Nobody. You need to set a time. Hey, today at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., whatever it is, I'm going to research 30 different companies around me, project management companies or, uh, you know, apartment complex companies, whatever it is. And then once I get those for 30 minutes, I'm just going to cold call all of them.
Yep.
And that's it. But you're giving yourself a time frame. And I guarantee you, once you start getting those wins, you're going to hear a lot of no's, get hung up on. It's a little discouraging. But once you start getting those wins, this is going to build that confidence, build that competence, and start giving you a new perception of making these calls.
Yes. And
But
here's
yeah, I
another
went
thing.
on a rant. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I've been on 85 minutes this whole podcast. Um, what I was gonna say, man, is yeah, yeah, that's I think people don't realize they're getting paid for the no. Like that's a switch to make. And you hear that in sales all the time, you're getting paid for the no. I'm gonna actually spell that out what that means. So you're gonna start, let's say you have, and you probably know this, but I'm gonna spell it out for the people listening, right? Let's say you have 100 people you want to call. All right, so you call 30, and on the 31st, someone says, yeah, come on down on Tuesday. Or, yeah, send us some info. Do you have a license? Right?
Yep.
That's how many it takes. That's how many no's it takes to get a yes. So now you're just paying in no's. How many yeses do you want today? You want 3? You want 8? How many no's?
Mm,
It's like a math equation, you
that's
know?
that
It's
is
like
good.
yeah, and it actually, dude, another thing, man, people don't realize this. It's okay to go for the no. Like you can ask if someone's being wishy-washy and you're just trying to get through leads, literally ask them point blank, hey, this is what we're trying to do. We want to do this. Like, this is the benefit. What do you think? We'd like to do this. And just make it like next day or two, like how can we start? And they'll tell you yes or no. Get to the no. I would
Yeah.
rather hear no from someone who doesn't want to work with me than hear for 3 weeks while I call them 8 times. It's
Mm.
a waste of time for everybody, and it's annoying for them, and it's stressful for me.
Yep. That is awesome. Yeah, I don't think people realize that. People think I need to get every single call to say yes and buy my service. And they think if they say no to me, and I know you talked about this earlier, like sometimes they're just not dealing with the type of contractor I am, or sometimes they just don't need another electrician right now.
Yeah.
And those things are fine. But I think if somebody says no to us to our little sales pitch, um, then it has something to do with us and we internalize it. But sometimes
Yes.
sometimes it might have to do with you. You have to work on your pitch and work on your communication skills and what you're saying. but a lot of the times it's has nothing to do with you. They weren't going to hire you in the first place. But as you're saying, Gavin, you have to get past that no, because somebody needs your service today. Somebody's going to hire an electrician tomorrow, and there's no reason it shouldn't be you. But the only difference is who's going to pick up the phone and call that person, or who's going to
Yep.
make that Google ad and put it out there.
Yep. And this is a quote. I don't even know if I should bring this up, but Andrew Tate. I'm not a fan necessarily,
I
but
gotta bleep that out.
I know, right? I heard a good
What?
I heard a good quote from him though. He said something that was true. He definitely stole it. So I'll figure out where the actual quote is. But
I'll put that in
basically,
here.
he said if you show up the thing about showing up every day is sometimes you get lucky.
Can't argue with that.
Like if you show up every day, you sometimes get lucky. Like by putting in the work every single like if you're like I'm gonna make 10 cold calls a day every single day, you're more likely to succeed because you're doing it every day or as many days as you can over a long period of time than to do it like once or twice and be like, I can't do this. It sucks.
Yeah, fail big,
Yeah.
fail a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. You get
You
paid
know,
in no's.
I had a I don't even know if I want to talk about this, but many moons ago, I tried to be a business consultant and I took a course. And the course was awesome, and I was, part of this team, but I was kind of working solo. And I remember, dude, I was not a confident person at all. And this business bombed too, so it didn't go anywhere. But I had no confidence. I'm antisocial. I don't like talking to people. And I remember I was at the point where I was writing my own cold call scripts to try to pitch to business. I had no to businesses. I had no clue what I was doing. I had the right material to help a business grow, get more clients. I mean, I had awesome amount of material. I really hope I still have that material somewhere for my own business. But I remember the fear of going out, and I would make myself go out. And mind you, I failed at this. This didn't go anywhere. I tried for almost a year, probably like 6 months. I would cold call businesses and for a couple hours a day, and then I'll go out and I'll walk in, where the businesses are where I was living, and I would go and I'd try to cold pitch them. And it was one of the most fearful things I've ever done, both on the phone and in person. But I felt like it gave me such confidence that I wouldn't have today if I didn't try that. So I definitely got paid for those no's in my own confidence that nobody could take away from me now.
Yes. Yes. That's how I feel about my own sales career. I thought when I switched into the blue collar world, I was like, well, I just, pissed away those 6 years or
Yeah.
however many, and
Yeah.
like, that's not the case at all. It all came back around.
Yeah. So I think it's really that
But
investing in yourself. You owe it to yourself to try. You owe it to your family to try. Pick up that phone, make those phone calls. And I'm going to add something in here. And I usually don't like talking a lot when I'm interviewing somebody because I usually want their input. But I think this is good. I think people really need to write down the reasons why they don't want to pick up the phone, or the reasons why. Because sometimes we might tell ourselves, "I'm afraid. I'm not very good at talking to people on the phone." But the reality is, you're kind of afraid that if you get that job, you might not know how to do it.
yeah,
Or if you get that job, you don't know how to price it. And honestly, not knowing how to price a job is a scary thing because you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this job. And if the price isn't right, the electrical code coach talks about this on YouTube. If the price is not what you need, then you're not going to be able to really do a good job because that's going to be in the back of your head. You're like, man, I'm not going to be able to survive off this, what I'm making from this job. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm
hmm
saying that right, but you're not going to be able to have the same mindset to do a really good job
I've
if you're
done it.
not charging something that you feel comfortable charging. So
Yeah,
I think we really need to ask ourselves the questions. Why am I afraid of talking to somebody and picking up the phone? Might be the case, but we really have to look behind that and say, what are the real reasons we're afraid? What if I get this job? Am I afraid of anything, there? Am I afraid of going to somebody's house? Am I afraid of talking to them? Am I afraid of telling them what the price is going to be at the end of the service call? And I think if we could make a
Yeah.
list of these things, you'll have a starting point of things that you can work on.
Or yeah, totally. And here's another approach that's worked for me really well is just reframing. Let's assume that you go through that entire process, right? You get someone on the phone, you get the bid, they say yes, everything's exciting, blah blah blah. You're super nervous. You get there, you give them the bid, they go, that's too much, fuck you, I'm leaving.
Yep.
Go away. We don't want you here anymore. And you smell bad. Fuck you. Okay. What happens then? You're exactly where you started. You
Yep.
lost nothing.
Yeah.
You lost nothing. Go make more calls. What a stranger doesn't like you? You gonna cry about it?
Maybe.
There's business to be made. There's money to be made. Let's go. That's
Yep.
my mentality. It's like you're not losing anything. You're not going to lose anything from a cold call.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, you get hung, and that's their problem. That's a rude thing to do to somebody. I don't hang up on people.
Yeah.
So fuck it, for lack of better phrasing.
Thug life. You got to be Tupac.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I got to get some glasses, bro. Start wearing them during the calls.
Heck yeah. Yes, that's awesome. All right. So we've been on here for quite a while. Before we hop off, is there anything else you want to share or anything else you want to share that maybe you do that could benefit some of the listeners if they did want to reach out to you, or just any closing words?
Yeah, so I'll say that, uh, guys, if you are if you're at the point where you're getting your license, you're even 10% interested in doing your own thing, it's going to be incredibly tough and the most rewarding thing you will ever do in your entire life. Now is the time, you got to take the chance. If you need help with the mindset stuff, I do that through another company. It's called Blue Collar Breakthrough. A part of that. It's Blue Collar Breakthrough coaching.com, and I'll probably put that on my Instagram as well, but that helps with the mindset stuff. I help with the leads and the marketing, and if you guys need anything, you guys can find me on Instagram or on those websites.
Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right.
Can I
So
ask one to you?
what happened?
Can I ask one for you?
No, no, go ahead. Shoot.
So out of everything that you have going on with the podcast, the education, your clients, in terms of your contracting business, what do you think the next step is for you?
So the next step, I actually have a game plan set out, and I had it set out more for next year. But I think working with you, I was a bit surprised at the because I just wanted help with the website. I didn't know you're actually going to get me clients and make me work. Um, I've been doing a little bit of
Oh,
work, but
it's like
so
it's like a reflex.
yeah, yeah, I shouldn't have got too close to you. What happened is next year I wanted to get my license this year, and I wanted to really just establish some jobs, smaller jobs, and then next year really launch into um having a lot more clients, but having hiring on electricians. I got one guy that works for me, and I want to hire on a crew, and I don't want to do any of the work in my company. So what I'm doing next is when I have these jobs coming in, I'm going to be hiring people and having them actually do the work or go with me and train them at the same time. So that's kind of the next step for me, or maybe the next couple of steps for me, because it is a little tasking for to kind of focus completely on doing all the work in the contracting company, especially when I go and have to do jobs. It's really tiring. I work a full-time job, so I don't need the money that comes from the contracting. And I do the podcast, so that takes a lot of time editing, getting people to interview on the podcast, and actually doing the interviews like this. So with the company, my next step is to bring in some clients, and then right after that, to start taking people with me and hiring more people on, hopefully getting these guys working full time. Good.
Yeah, I think that the future of contracting is going to involve things moving a lot faster, more efficiently. Like it's been locked in the past because of,
Yeah.
it takes a while to get to the point where you can own a business. So the people who own businesses and have owned businesses over the past, say, 10 years are older guys. They've been doing this since things were in black and white. And they they basically they have this mindset, and it's a lot slower and less efficient, and they're going to start running into issues right about the same time they're going to retire. And that's
Yeah.
when all of the like you and all the guys who are my clients are going to come in with a new mindset, a new approach, and they're going to look at how can we get these jobs done with the most precision, efficiency, revenue, etc. Not just get it done the way that my grandpappy told me to do, you know?
Yep.
So anyway, I'm excited for that, and I think that we're at the front of it. So I think it's going to be really, really cool.
Awesome. I'm going to ask you one last question. Let's say 20, 30, 40 years down the line, you're 50, 60 years old, 70 years old, and you're looking back at who you are right now. What do you think is something old Gavin would wish he would have done right now in this time in his life?
I that's a really deep question. I think he would tell what old Gavin would tell me right now.
Or what he wished young Gavin would have done? Either one, you could answer.
Taking more time to stop and smell the roses instead of always going.
Hmm, that's good. That's
It's
good.
the one downside of the mentality that I feel I've cultivated is that it's always go, go, go. And if I stop to pat myself on the back for something, I lose effectiveness.
Hmm, that's good. That's my gift to you, Gavin. You could walk away with that now and ponder that.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
I'm here for it, man. The young electrician. Like and
Gotta go,
subscribe.
gotta
No.
go burn some incense right now.
Heck yeah. Go do some of that hippie stuff. Um, awesome, dude. Gavin, voltage lead generation. I appreciate you hopping on the podcast. I definitely want you back on the podcast because we didn't talk about this, but you're going to be one of the sponsors, one of the first sponsors of this podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Super excited.
So I'm looking forward to getting more sponsors of the podcast if Milwaukee happens to be listening to this.
You're sleeping.
No. Yeah, so we're trying to do some more podcast. So you're gonna be one of the sponsors of the podcast. I'm excited about what that looks like, and you help with the podcast website, and we're gonna do some more stuff with that. So I really appreciate you, dude. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next time I have you back on the podcast.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much.
All right, then, broski, I will let you go.
All right. Bye.
All right, peace.